This is a place.
This is the place?
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place. Welcome to this week's episode of This is a Place podcast. My name is Nate.
My name is Brandon.
My name is Matt.
And happy Hug Your Cat Day.
Oh, nice. I love my cats.
I do not have one.
I am very allergic to cats.
Yeah, Brandon's allergic. We are aware when he comes to our house. But yeah, we have 2 cats. I grew up with cats and dogs, and I love them equally for different reasons. But if I had to choose between cats and dogs, I'm a cat person.
The funny thing about cats, Nate, your Zoom name right now is I'm not a cat.
So I thought that was kind of funny and ironic.
That is funny.
When I looked that up. So I knew that had to be the day we celebrate.
And even though you don't really like cats, you're not much of a cat guy.
No,
you've kind of taken on a whole cat persona.
I have. I've become
kind of our cat
guy. I've become the cat guy, especially in pickleball, because I bought a cat sweater thing. What do you call it? Sweatshirt of a cat eating pizza, a Santa Claus or something. And I just thought it was silly.
wait, hold on.
It's a
something.
Cat,
don't
Santa,
you wear this all the time?
Cat. What's that?
You said or something. You wear it all the time. You don't.
No,
know
I don't wear that one much anymore.
Okay,
I'm just talking about the history.
Okay.
So I bought that at Goodwill, and maybe another cat shirt that I saw, and I thought they were just so dumb. So I used to be known as like the America Pride guy because I always wore like American stuff, and then I wore the cat stuff, and then people started gifting me cat stuff shirts, and now a lot of my shirts I wear at pickleball have to do with cats, especially one I have, and that's one I got at MPS for like $1, and it was a taco cat stuff, and then now I'm the cat guy, and I'm slowly, I think I've mentioned this before, my boy Bronco is allergic to dogs, my wife's allergic to cats. I don't know if Bronco's allergic to cats, but so we never could have a pet, and I've always wanted a dog, and I decided the day that maybe I do want a cat. We've talked about this because of the simplicity of a cat versus a dog. Where you go out of town with a dog, you got to find a dog sitter. You go out of town with a cat, you just fill up their bowl with food and water, or just put it outside and it'll come back when you're home.
Just hope for the best. Yeah.
So, and I know Matt's cat likes to give him a surprise every day, right? Brings you home a surprise, goes hunting for you.
Yeah.
To get your dinner.
That's about to start. Yep. One of our cats, it acts like a dog where he waits for you to wake up in the morning so you can let him out and he'll go out to the bathroom. And
Really?
yeah, he rarely uses the litter box. So he goes out to the bathroom in a field. And then he often there was one summer, I'm not even exaggerating, he must have killed at least 100 mice and brought them in our driveway. So like every morning we'd go out and have to clean up like 2 or 3 mice from the driveway. There was one morning there were 6 mice out there.
Wow.
It's just like a sport for him.
Oh, he loves it. And after he does that, we give him a big hug to reward him. But we don't let him,
as you should,
lick our
Day
face.
to celebrate for you. Go give your cat a big hug for all the mice he kills.
Yep.
And wait, what's his name?
Ancho,
right.
Well, I think I've mentioned this before that there are cats. Actually, I think the shelter had some cats a little bit ago that they're not domestic cats. Like you take them to industrial buildings and they'll just roam the building killing mice. Kind of what Matt's cat does. That's what the purpose is for. And my understanding is, I know one of you guys had a connection to amusement park podcast.
We did.
Okay. But
We don't
I
talk about it
believe
much anymore.
Disneyland has a whole bunch of cats that roam the grounds when closed to control the mice population.
That's a cool hidden fact you just pulled out, Nate.
Yeah, but I've often wondered too, does Lagoon have cats?
It's a good question. Maybe we'll find the answer along this. Da 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 da. We are going on a full summer journey talking about Lagoon every week, with except for 1 week. We do have 1 week in the middle that will not be a Lagoon episode. But every week starting now, you are going to be filled with so much Lagoon content.
And is this because the fans were requesting it? Absolutely not. Nobody asked for it, but
We
we're
get
giving it
so
to you
many
anyways.
messages about not this.
So many people asking us to do certain topics, but yet, do we listen? No,
No, we do.
we do.
We listen to topic suggestions for sure, but it'd be really funny if almost all our audience doesn't go to or just despises Lagoon, so they just completely tune out for the whole month.
You're about to see your numbers. They're going to go down or they're going to go up or they're going to stay the same.
Thanks, Matt. That joke never gets old.
Never
Nope.
gets old.
Sometimes it gets old. Sometimes.
And the funny thing about this is we're going to go on. So it's going to be 12 total episodes of Lagoon. And even after that, we'll still have Lagoon to talk about. There's so much to dig in and explore about Lagoon. So maybe it becomes a yearly thing. Who knows? But for now, it's just a 3-month thing, just a 12 episode full summer ordeal. And we thought it would be fitting because last year, no, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. That's crazy. 2 years ago, we had an intern on the podcast and we've let him stick around. He's been shirking a little bit on his responsibilities lately. Hasn't done a description for probably 4 months. Few months,
yeah.
except for one. He did do one that I specifically requested that he do. But Matt was recently let go of his job. Elon Musk has been just cutting costs everywhere in the government, and Matt was a government employee of sorts, and he got doged.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's
so,
still a big shock. And the frustrating thing is like my job was actually really important. I don't know who's going to do it now. So what my job was, so for people that don't know, one of the most common sites visited for parents that have students in junior high or high school is their junior high or high school website. And so my job, the taxpayers, you guys think you paid me $95,000 a year, and literally what I would do every day for 8 hours a day, 40 hours every week, for however many days I worked a year. I would just get a list at the beginning of the year of all of the URLs for junior highs and high schools. And my job was to manually enter those in and make sure that the website was working so that parents could check it. And so I would just go state by state. And that took me all year. Highly skilled job. That's why I got paid so much. And now nobody's going to be doing that. And I hate to say it, but what are parents going to do when they go to a website and the website's down, So I don't know who's going to take over my position or how, like AI can't do that. They can't automate that. I manually had to type in all those URLs. So,
including the www.
Rookie mistake. HTTPS colon / www dot, whatever, Cottonwood High School dot Granite School District .edu. And that, I mean, just me telling you that took 20 seconds. Now imagine me doing that for all the junior highs and high schools in the country. If you knew
In the
anything.
meantime, we offered you this very high paying was it an internship? Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess it's another internship of sorts.
yeah, and not to
You
get
know when your contract is up.
yeah,
Or is it
exactly.
a handout?
Easy there, Nate. Uh, I temporarily we had a bit of legal battle, and we decided to settle. And part of that was you guys offered to help me out. So thank you.
And that was correct, Nate. Well, we're happy to have you back on for this whirlwind of a journey. And you know what? We've got some pretty fun ideas. I mean, Lagoon is just a treasure trove, to be honest. We, I will openly admit, sometimes we're critical of Lagoon. Sometimes we joke about Lagoon, but it all comes from a place of love, right? Because we love Lagoon. It's our park. It's our home park, and we just want the best. We want to have this quality place to go and take our families. And even more than take our families, we want to go and enjoy it the most. So
I don't care if my kids have fun. I'm going to have fun.
both of you are very lucky that I mean, Matt, you had this very high paying job that you're able to buy this Lagoon season pass. And you too, Nate. This podcast barely paying the bills for me, guys. So I was not able to buy a season pass. But I know that you both we're going to have many fun summer evenings this year together. And I just hope that you'll invite me along for one and we can talk about it in an episode. That's all I can hope for. So,
Brandon, I hate to correct you on your own show, but Nate and I actually didn't buy passes. Lagoon reached out to us because they heard some of our episodes.
Okay.
And so we have media passes. So
Media pass.
yeah, I thought they reached out to you, but I guess not.
Okay. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's start at the very beginning of Lagoon in 1886. We go back to the very beginning, originally called Lake Park. The resort that would become Lagoon opened on the shores of the Great Salt Lake on July 15th, 1886. Visitors enjoyed an open air dance pavilion, roller skating, water sports, target shooting, a bowling alley, and a mule drawn merry-go-round.
I wonder what kind of guns they were shooting at that target shooting. Or is that guns?
Muskets? Do they have guns back then?
Did you bring a freaking musket? Do you know what that's from?
Yeah.
Nate, do you know what that's from?
Oh man, it's totally ringing a bell. Give me one more hint.
That's the only quote I got.
Chapstick or traffic.
Chapstick.
Looking
Chapstick.
for my chapstick.
For my chapstick. Yeah.
Look, there's a Ford Maverick. No,
No.
it's
White boy rapper.
What?
Malibu.
Malibu.
Oh,
Malibu Tay.
okay, that's right. I haven't seen that forever.
Did you bring a freaking musket?
That's the best
I
line of the whole
love-
movie.
I love Jamie Kennedy back in the day. Did you ever watch his show?
The Jamie Kennedy experiment.
Yeah.
Experience?
Yeah.
I don't think I did.
Was it X? Did he say, did you X or something like that? You've been X'd or something. Anyways,
Kind of like the original Punked, wasn't it?
kind of.
Yeah. Brandon and I have listened to a podcast about it.
Oh,
About
yes,
Malibu
we
Most
have.
Wanted.
No, just about Jamie Kennedy experiment experience. What is
Yeah.
it?
I think it was the experiment. I'm not sure. Anyway, sorry. I got us off track. Sorry.
So fun. I gotta watch that movie again. That's one of those. It was so dumb. It was funny.
Yes. Anyway, I have a question, even before we move on to the next. So this history we're just stealing straight from Lagoon, straight from the source, right? But my first question is, was Solitaire different than Lake Park? It was like its own thing, right? We've never done a Solitaire episode.
Have we not?
We never have.
I think I'm pretty sure this was because Saltaire, like you have to go around
1893.
the mountain, and this is closer to like I think this is part of Salt Lake that's actually
Closer
kind of
to
close to
Farmington.
Farmington.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. And yeah, Saltaire was after. So Lake Park was the OG, actually. 1886 compared to 1893. Interesting. Well, anyways, they did not last at Lake Park or on the lake for very long because in 1899, Lake Park was eventually moved east to Farmington, Utah, along the banks of a 9-acre pond that inspired the park's name change. In 1899, Lagoon introduced its first thrill ride, Shoot the Chutes, sliding boats full of thrill seekers down a ramp and splashing into the water. This does not look like the lagoon water in this picture.
I'm pretty sure it's the same area.
Is it?
Oh, you're right. Well, and there's a roller coaster right next to it. No, that's got to be that.
That's a
gotta
roller
be it.
coaster.
Yeah.
That's got to
But
be the
you're,
lagoon.
but no, I think I know what you're saying. I don't think that's the same lagoon. Look at us.
So the lagoon was already there. I thought that the lagoon was man-made, but the lagoon's always been there. Where did that water come from?
The Great Salt Lake.
So I'm looking at the official lagoon book. I bought this on Amazon or somewhere a few years ago, and this is my first time looking through it. But we've got a color photo of the same picture that's on Lagoon's website. And it says the 60-foot high Shoot the Chutes, Lagoon's first thrill ride, consisted of an immense incline plane ending in a pool about 100 by 50 feet in area. Boats carrying 4 passengers with the pilot are carried up the incline by means of a cable and grip. Then, with the passengers holding tightly in the seats, the boat slide down in the incline to the water and with a mighty splash, shoot the full length of the pool under the guidance of the pilot who stands in the stern and uses a single oar after the fashion of a gondolier. How do you say that word? Gondolier?
Gondola?
Like a gondola?
Gondola?
I've never heard that.
Gondolier? I have no idea. The nearby Bump the Bumps was a one-person toboggan carrying the rider down to the bathing pool. So this depiction of it, it looks like a photo. I don't think this is the same lagoon. I mean, it's a pool. It's different than the actual lagoon that
Yeah.
Lagoon is named for. But I guess that's an unanswered question.
What's the question?
Where did the lagoon come from? Was it just there?
The original?
Yeah, is it from the Great Salt Lake?
It was Lagoon began as a lake park resort, a bathing resort on the shores of the Great Salt Lake.
I know, we already talked about that.
Then what are you asking? You're
I'm
asking where the
asking-
Great Salt Lake came from?
No. So we've already moved from Lake Park and now we're at Lagoon, where it's at now in Farmington. There's a body of water. Don't know if you know this, Nate. There's a body of water next to the Naked Mermaid ride.
No way.
What's it called?
Tidal wave.
There is a body of water. Where did that body of water come from? I mean, it's not. I can't find the answer of where it came from, but it looks like people used to swim in it and they used to have rides in it, like the paddle boats. I'm just wondering, where did the water come from? Was it man-made? Did they fill it up with?
Is that the one people swam in? I thought the swimming was like an actual pool.
Man, we are not
Ni-
equipped for this
I,
podcast.
1927.
hold on. Hey, Jacob.
Did
The
your
water
assistant
at
give you an answer?
yes, the water at Lagoon. It's got to be true. Originally came from a natural spring located near the park. When Lagoon moved to its current Farmington location in 1896, it was built next to a spring-fed pond, hence the name Lagoon.
Okay, so the
The spring
spring-fed
supplied
pond.
clean water for swimming and boating, which were major attractions in the early days of the park. Over time, that lagoon was developed into swimming pools and later Laguna Beach, the park's water park.
Hmm.
No? Today, Lagoon uses a combination of municipal water and recycled treated water systems for its attractions, including rides, landscaping, and Laguna Beach. But its name and early identity were closely tied to that original freshwater spring.
So,
The end.
I mean, it's still a freshwater spring. Is there water coming out of it? I'm just curious where the water's coming from. Am I wrong to think there's like fountains in the middle of it somewhere? Am I
There are
Well,
imagining that?
fountains.
yeah,
So they pump water
they're,
in.
or maybe just the water comes from the spring.
We're gonna have to have a parking lot where we park some of these questions we need to have answered. At the very end, we'll have a listener respond and tell us what the answer is, or maybe someone from Lagoon.
We'll have a fact checking
A fact-checking
episode.
episode. Everything we got wrong along our journey,
It will take a whole episode.
probably. Okay, so here's what we know. There's a lagoon there, and it's still there today.
Good enough. Let's move on.
Let's move along.
And nobody knows how deep it is.
Really?
I have no idea.
Are you
Just wanted to
starting?
start it.
You
Just
starting
started a rumor.
urban legend?
Yeah.
Save the urban legends for the
I
urban
believe that's
legend
where
episode.
I think that's where the Bear Lake Monster came from.
You know what? I'll do you one better, buddy. I do have some riveting facts. Pleasure seekers thrilled by the approach of a bear. A terrible bear came down from the mountains to the lagoon yesterday about 3 o'clock. When his presence was discovered, people rushed frantically to safety. They ran into the depot, the pavilions, the lagoon, the bar, jumped up on chairs and climbed trees. But the occasion produced heroes, as every great crisis does. Joe Riley, the renowned grizzly getter of the Rockies, hastily gathered a posse of about 6 and armed with cannons, rifles, ropes, umbrellas, striking and knockout drops. They led a charge on the intruder. The fierce animal, however, made his getaway, and after several hours' chase, the search was given up. The bear was about 1 month old and was looking for his mother. They were chasing down a little 1 month old bear trying to kill it.
Where there's
Poor
a 1 month old bear, there's a mama.
I know, but that's sad. They would have killed a little baby bear. This was in June 1899. So there was a bear here once, Nate. Not a Bear Lake monster, but a lake bear monster.
Is that because there were women nearby? The bears can smell the women. Sorry, bad joke.
What does that mean?
Anchorman. Bears. Sorry. No.
I'm sorry.
Moving on.
That quote's not in my repertoire, Nate. I'm sorry.
It's Steve Carell saying, I hear the bears can smell them. Anyways, sorry.
It's okay.
Bad joke.
Moving along, we get to 1906. We could do a whole summer of the early years of Lagoon. This book is chock full. I'm looking through it. I'm on page 33, 35, and we're still in the early 1940s. Page 53 is when we finally get to 1974. There's a lot of history, but they're not exhausted. 1906, built in 1893, Lagoon's Victorian era carousel features 45 hand-carven horses, and other ornate characters. The carousel was installed in 1906 and is still in operation today. And Matt, you said it may or may not have Calliope music at some point. Does it have Calliope music at this juncture? I don't know.
No, they do not play Calliope music.
Wait, what? That's a joke from an old podcast.
Yeah.
For like 5 episodes, we called it Calliope. And
Not for 5, more than that.
oh, okay. For the whole podcast, we called it.
Yeah.
What, you
Calliope.
had more than 5 episodes?
We did a whole. Did we do like a whole year?
Pretty
How long
much.
did we do the podcast? It was like a year. You never listened to it, Nate?
Yeah.
The heck?
No, you
Do I
didn't.
even listen to this episode or this podcast?
That's fair. So no Calliope music, huh? Can you even call it a carousel?
I'll let this one pass.
Does it have music?
It does have music, I think.
Does it just play rock music at this point?
I don't know. I'm going this Saturday. I'll check it out.
Are you
Well, it
going
would have been
Saturday?
nice to know.
I might be going this Saturday as well.
Great. You guys' first little meet cute at Lagoon without me.
Right. This is our first time meeting each other there this season.
You've never.
I want this to end.
Yeah, I'll have to check out the music. But it is a beautiful carousel.
We'll put that in our parking lot. What kind
I
of
feel
music?
like they just
does the carousel
play.
have?
I feel like they just play regular music,
What is regular music?
like stuff you hear on the radio.
Like top 40?
Yeah, I feel like I've heard "Don't Stop Believin'" by Journey
Mm.
before.
Eye of the Tiger. Or no, that's
Night-
not what it's called.
My 99.5 music.
There you go.
Eye of the Tiger? On the
That's
carousel?
not what I meant.
That's a pretty intense song for a carousel.
Katy Perry's And You're
Katy
Gonna Hear
Perry's.
Me Roar.
I
Is it called Roar?
think so.
I think
But when you said, so I was thinking Katy Perry the whole time. I just imagined writing this and listening to Katy Perry. But yeah,
Yeah.
Roar could be one of them. There's lions, right? There's lions on this carousel, not just horses. Is there?
there's lions.
Yeah,
and tigers
there's
and bears.
lions, there's everything.
Oh my.
So I think this ride is conflicting because some signs will say carousel and some signs will say merry-go-round. And that just doesn't.
We're not gonna get into that.
No, we're not.
We're gonna have that's for a whole other podcast.
Yeah, if you want to hear the difference between a carousel and a merry-go-round, you're gonna have to go find out of the podcast.
It's out there still.
Yep. There's also no brass rings here either.
Whoa.
Listener, if you
Deep
know what a
cut.
brass ring is, text the podcast and let us know.
Just a brass ring, not any other kind of ring.
And all you got to text is, I know what that is, and we'll know what you're talking about.
We'll know.
Yeah.
All right, let's fast forward a bit to 1921. The arrival of the Roaring Twenties came the roller coaster. We have an episode about roller coaster, which is such a funny name, such a fun name. And why do we refer to it as the White Roller Coaster? Go listen to the episode. We tell you all about it. An out and back ride with 2,500 feet of track, hills rising to 60 feet, and a top speed of 45 miles per hour. Lagoon's roller coaster is one of the oldest operating wooden coasters in the world. But it's kind of one of those things. What do you call that ship?
Oh, yeah.
The ship of Theseus?
Which one's the original at this point?
Is it really the original roller coaster at this point?
Yeah.
Because it's been rebuilt, replaced so many times. It's kind of that same conundrum. I still think it is, right? Still the OG in some way, shape, or form.
Even though it burned down.
We'll save that for another episode, Matt.
Yeah.
Please stay to the program.
And if you're mine and Brandon's age, who doesn't think of the goats when they think of the white roller coaster? Nate, when
The
you were a
goats?
kid, did they have the goats there when you were a kid?
Michael Jordan, Tom Brady. Who else?
Oh, Actual goats eating the
Isn't
grass.
right to maintain the grass area.
Bring back the goats. Free the goats. Where do they go? They're in the zoo. Oh, just kidding. Let's not talk about that. Cut that. Cut that out.
Too soon.
1927. Summertime swimming became even more refreshing with the installation of a 1 million-gallon swimming pool just north of Lagoon Lake. So they call it Lagoon Lake. Touted for water fit to drink, it was the first filtered swimming pool west of the Mississippi. That's cool, actually. I didn't know that.
Does everybody west of the Mississippi use that phrase?
Yeah, probably. And if you've got the first thing or the biggest thing west of the Mississippi, you're going to use that phrase. So I don't blame Lagoon at all.
Hey, I was at the Mississippi last week. You know what state the Mississippi starts in?
State you were in, Minnesota.
Apparently, yeah. I don't know why they call it the Mississippi River. I should look that up.
That's a research for another day, Matt. Please stick to the program.
Sorry.
Matt, come here. Stay.
So, but that's pretty cool. The biggest, or the first, not the biggest, the first filtered swimming pool west of the Mississippi. We don't hear about that often.
You looking at this picture?
Yes.
That kid that's like looking back with the funny look on his face, that looks like me when I was a teenager.
That does look like you.
Am I a time traveler?
Maybe you are.
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy? And what is that kid jumping off of? Is his dad holding a tube? And where are the females?
There's They weren't allowed. They weren't allowed to swim in 1927. That was indecent.
Is that Wendy Peppercorn in the background?
This was a pretty big. There's not really swimming at Lagoon anymore, is there?
What are you talking about?
I know you have. I know we have Laguna Beach. Okay,
right.
There's not like a pool. Like in Laguna Beach, there's portions where you can kind of swim.
There's a spot.
Cave area.
Yeah, the cave area. But in the cave area, it's still not really swimming.
Right.
I'm not saying you need to be able to swim at Lagoon, but it's just kind of there's other parks in the country that still have like swimming pool type things.
This isn't swimming. This is floating with style.
There you go.
Either way,
that is interesting. They don't have like an Olympic-sized pool or something, just a regular swimming pool.
It's like to that point, it's kind of a waste at Lagoon. If you want to swim, you're not going to go to Lagoon. You know, you don't need a Olympic-sized pool. You're going to go spend less money, or go to the rec center, right? But if you're going to go to Lagoon, you got Laguna Beach, which is water slides and fun stuff like that. So I don't know, but yeah, that's early Lagoon. That takes us to 1953, which is where the real fun begins. Do we keep going?
Do we save that for a later day? Maybe we shouldn't mention what happened in 1953 and move to 1954.
You're going to have to listen to a later episode to find out what happened in 1953. But in 1954, Lagoon was quickly rebuilt.
Why?
You blew it.
Dang it.
Now they're not going to return for the next episode.
The cliffhanger. Dang it. We don't know what happened, but Lagoon was quickly rebuilt and new attractions began to appear, including Mother Goose Land, a themed area for children. Today, youngsters still have a place with rides just their size at Kittyland. Why make the change in the name, though?
That's a good question. Kittyland is like a pretty universal. Like if you go to any regional amusement park, they have Kittyland. and that's what it's called. So yeah, why not keep it Mother Goose Land?
They still have the wait, hold on. I guess why Mother Goose Land? There's nothing here that spells Mother Goose.
Yeah, it's the little lady in the shoe.
The little lady in the shoe is not Mother Goose.
No,
So maybe it just there wasn't a Mother Goose presence, and so they decided it had to be Kittyland.
they were really worried about theming there. They had a vision for theming.
1960. During the 1950s and 60s, the park became a concert hot spot, drawing many famous entertainers. Let's go ahead. Matt, stop looking at your screen.
Okay.
Who were some of the famous entertainers they had in the 60s?
The Rolling Stones,
I forgot about the Beach Boys.
the Beach Boys, Jimi Hendrix, Louis Armstrong, I believe.
You saw that one on the screen.
I'm looking right at you.
On the screen.
Anyone else?
I don't know.
That
They
you
know
have.
of?
Don't they have over just what would it be north of Kittyland? They have. Is that like on one of the not bathroom walls or buildings? A bunch of history that includes all the artists that came during that time frame.
I'm not aware of this, but I want to figure
I
it
believe
out.
they do. I have a quick update. We're ragging on Kittyland and or Mother Goose Land. They did have a booklet of sorts that shows a Mother Goose on an official lagoon something. So there was a Mother Goose presence.
Oh, okay.
But
I just looked at my screen. Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash, that's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, I still think Rolling Stones is probably the biggest one.
Ella Fitzgerald and Duke Ellington are the ones that are listed here on the official website. But you said the Rolling Stones. I'm surprised that one doesn't show up on here.
I believe if you go to 1966, Lagoon peaked as a rock and roll venue when the Rolling Stones played July 1966. The Doors, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and other rock stars made appearances over the years. And the Beach Boys even mentioned Lagoon in their song Salt Lake City.
They sure do. We need to do an episode on that song, Nate.
And
Yeah.
you can see those light fixtures in the picture. Those light fixtures are still there
You
in the
guys,
arcade by Dracula's Castle.
were you looking at this? Oh. Oh, the light fixtures. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
In 1965, Lagoon's innovative leader, Robert E. Freed, was a well-known civil rights advocate honored by the NAACP. He fought town ordinances banning African Americans from parts of the park, ultimately allowing all races to enter Lagoon without restrictions.
I'm curious what parts of the park, and my assumption would be pools.
Pools was a big thing in those
Pools
days.
was a big thing. So
All right, so we talked about 1966 and the musical acts. Yeah, the Doors, Jimi Hendrix. Have you guys seen any kind of a concert at Lagoon before?
Outside of their shows,
Yeah, I mean,
like a real
does Lagoon?
artist.
Do they still do people go there and perform like dancers and stuff like that, cheerleaders?
oh yeah.
Like they do those
Yeah.
kinds of things, but
Yeah.
you know, it would be really cool if they had local bands perform at Lagoon.
A battle
Like
of
a
the
battle of the
bands.
bands. There you go.
Yeah, a battle of the bands would be a perfect thing for Lagoon,
Battle Royale.
and a battle royale too.
I just wanted to quote that movie.
But even though they don't have musical acts anymore, never mind, I don't know what I'm saying. In 1968, Broadway style performances came to Lagoon during the summer, thanks to the opening of the Opera House. Guests were treated to hit plays such as Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. I don't know what that last one is, but I definitely know about Joseph. I don't know if we do a whole episode on the Opera House, but the Opera House is such an interesting thing to me. Well,
Yeah,
we need to put in the parking lot and talk to somebody about it. Because what?
really.
It's big.
What's going on in there?
What's going on in there?
What's the octopus ride? That's like Dumbo
Hmm.
but with water.
Oh
I'm
yeah, what
pretty
is that?
sure it like goes and there's a door to the control panel where they're running the ride, but there's a door behind them and that goes, I think, into the opera house.
You're probably right.
But this has always been, I've been so curious my whole life of what's going on in there. I bet you it's just
Storage.
storage. It's just
It maybe
storage
it's where
now.
they keep all the Halloween stuff.
Oh,
Mm, I
I
bet you're
bet
right.
that's what it is.
It's where all the fog
No,
machines are hidden.
they've got like huge garages on site that you just don't think of.
You know, it'd be really cool, a behind the scenes tour of Lagoon. Has anyone ever had a behind the scenes tour of Lagoon?
Well, Nate and I are getting one with our media
Ah,
passes.
shut up. Um.
You weren't supposed to say anything, Matt. You signed a.
Anyway, I was texting Matt about this today because if you look at, I've been using Google Earth a lot lately, as mentioned in a previous episode, and looking at the blueprint or the size, it's a pretty big building. So either they're keeping a lot of stuff in there, it's chock full of just props and stuff, maybe odds and ends for rides. Who knows? Maybe maybe we need to go inside. Maybe someone needs to let us in. The last time I saw something happen there was in the heydays of the Frightmares, and they had a fortune teller or a hypnotist performing on the steps. But even then, that wasn't inside. But where this gets even crazier is they have that show for Frightmares, and they built like a stage for it, like across the way. But they already had this building. Why don't they just use it for something like that? We're talking too much about the Opera House, guys. This needs to be its own episode. Once we get in there.
How far in history do we want to go? Because eventually it's not early Lagoon
What year were
anymore.
you born, Nate?
1980.
Perfect. That's where we'll go to.
Okay, perfect.
Two more slides on this PowerPoint presentation. 1976, Pioneer Village. Pioneer Village, the crown jewel of Lagoon, in
I
my
love it.
humble opinion.
Yeah.
Pioneer Village brought Utah history to life with the relocation of authentic pioneer and Victorian structures. The village is packed with historic buildings and antique treasures, including a world-class gun collection and Summit County's first two-story home.
Is that the haunted house?
There's a couple two-story homes. There's that
Oh,
one.
yeah, there is.
I think
I think
there's
that's
at
more.
least two of them that I can think of.
I think this two-story home they're referring to is the one over by the church. I think.
There's there one over by the church.
Mm-hmm. There's a two-story home over by the church. There's one on
There's one on the Main Street
the
area
main
too.
street, and you go up there and there's a bunch of old dolls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's the two-story building that is spooky.
Yes. Anyway, we'll talk more about Pioneer Village later. That deserves its own episode. But then we get to 1983, the year Nate was born. Just kidding. You were born in 1980, you said?
And that's the year like my little brother was born. But
1983 is when things really took off at Lagoon. When Colossus the Fire Dragon arrived, giving riders a first-hand physics lesson with wild 60-foot inversions. The double loop thriller was voted one of the top 10 coasters in the country by People magazine.
It's still a banger.
It's still a banger.
42 years old and it's still great.
And honestly, there's a lot of things that happen between those years. I mean, this is like, wow, how many years has it been? What year did it open? 1886 originally? We're way over 100 years.
Yeah.
Got to do some math, pull up my trusty calculator. 139 years. And we just covered a bunch of it in an hour or so, however long we've been talking. We missed out on the fun house that was built in 1957. I think there was even one before that.
Those we're gonna have a separate episode for that though.
We are. I'm just going through some more highlights that our friend from the Lagoon History Project has. Go check out this website if you love Lagoon because it's got some good stuff.
It's
So
got
much
everything.
more, everything that we couldn't even begin to touch on. Showboat that they were taking guests around on Lagoon Lake. I didn't know about that. They built their own Autopia ride to capitalize on what was going on at Disneyland, called the Speedway. The golf course was built in 1962. I mean, there's so many things in between those years that were happening and rides that were built. And, we just brushed through it. Honestly, if you love Lagoon, find this book. If you want to borrow mine, you can because I don't look at it except for when we're talking about Lagoon for the podcast. I need to read it. I just need to read through the whole book because I'll say again what we said at the beginning. We may critique Lagoon. We may make fun sometimes. We make fun of everything on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, we love Lagoon and what they do. And it's the largest family-owned amusement park. Is it also the longest family-operated amusement park, technically, as well? A lot of firsts. One of the best rides in the whole world that I've been on in Cannibal. We have a whole episode about that one too. A lot of great things about Lagoon. We love it, and that's why we're spending a whole summer talking about it. So, if this episode is just giving you a preview of what you're going to expect on this journey with us, it's going to be a lot more fun than me reading through a web page and the comments we have on it. But we're going to have a good time. Do we tease any episode? We've teased a couple episodes we have coming up. Do we even offer? Do we put up like a poll, a fan voted episode for all 5 people that would go to the poll and vote?
Like, do we have to have more than one vote for it to count?
I'm sure people would vote. Maybe I'll throw up a poll. Do we dare? And if they don't vote, we have an alternate anyway. Matt, any thoughts?
There's a ton going through my mind. It's racing a mile an hour right now. Did we do polls for our podcast? Is what I'm thinking.
What? Did we?
Did we? On YouTube?
I think so.
I swear we did.
And I was the only one that voted?
I don't know.
I think we did polls. And we're on YouTube now. We could do polls on YouTube. We could do it on Instagram. I could start posting on Instagram again.
Whoa.
We could do polls in our group chat.
Pull each other, yeah.
Then we could pull each other and Josh. Well, episode 1 of the books, we may or may not open up a poll for people to vote and recommend an episode. I think I'm going to. And I might even go to Reddit, might even brave the Reddit people to get ideas or urban legends. But we've got some fun episodes coming up. So hope you'll enjoy this journey with us, whether you love Lagoon, hate Lagoon, or
think it's just okay.
Thank you for listening to This Is a Place podcast.
And this was a lagoon we just talked about. That doesn't work.
Bye now.